Welcome to Hong Kong Confidential. I'm Jules Hannaford and I'm your host. I'm an Australian woman and I've been living in Hong Kong for many years. I'm a mother, a teacher, an author, and I want to share my wisdom and the wisdom of others with you. Thanks for joining me and I hope you enjoy the show. Today I'm here with Preeti Sharma. Hi Preeti, how are you?
Hi Jules, I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thank you. So where were you born?
I was born in New Delhi, India, and I was brought up there and moved to Hong Kong at the age of 18. That's when I got my first employment contract in Hong Kong. I actually had a very rough and tough childhood. I lost my dad when I was just 5. And that's when my younger sister was only a few months old.
What happened to your dad?
My dad died in a road accident.
Oh, how sad.
I know. And everything changed from there. Although my mother was highly educated, but she's always been a housewife until then. So it was really hard for her to get hold of her life. And then we were 5 brother-sisters together. So it was a big family too.
So your mum had 5 children and lost her husband?
At the age of 33. Yes, she did.
Wow, that's really full on.
Yes.
So what did she do?
Because her hobby was studying, so she always studied. So she had all the degrees in her, bag, which she never used. So then it was time for her to get a grip and then find a job. But with 5 small kids, it was not easy for her to work full time. So she was actually home for first 2 years after my dad died, and we were almost on roads because we were penniless. We were homeless, so we had seen good 7-8 dark years of our life.
She was homeless with 5 children?
Yes.
So where did you live?
We were kind of hand to mouth, and we used to, I finished my primary and secondary education along with my 2 sisters on the road street. We used to use the lamps and we used to sit under that light and we used to study and we used to pray that it doesn't have to be cloudy. We actually used the moonlight a lot of time. So we did study. But the only thing she told us is don't stop studying, no matter what. So there were times when we were without food for many, many days, but we never stopped studying. But I'm very happy that we actually continued our studies, and I am what I am because
your mother pushed you about the importance of education.
Yes. And then I started teaching. She really made us tutor when I was only 9 years old.
Oh, so were you tutoring other children? Other
children of the same age. And sorry to say, but I had to lie that I was already in my GCSEs while I was just in year 8, year 9. But because we were very advanced in studies, we never had any proper books to read. So we used to read our textbooks.
So that helped you get a bit smarter because you didn't have storybooks. So you were reading textbooks.
If anybody says who was your favorite author, I'm like, I don't know. The only thing we read was the science books and the physics books and the textbooks. And if nothing, then I used to read my math books.
How long were you on the street for before you actually lived in a home again?
Oh, not really street. I would say that, more likely on the street, we were in a shanty home.
Right.
So that was good 7-8 years before we all 3 sisters started working, contributing with our mother so that we can improve our standard of living. Because it was not easy to pay the school fees and the rent for the apartment or even a 1-room kitchen, I would say, in India. So it was a luxury by then. But yes, it took us really long time.
And what did your mum do for her first job?
As I said, that she couldn't work full time. So she ended up teaching. So she used to tutor so that she could have flexible hours and she could take care of us and then at times go and tutor others and then come home and still be with us. But unfortunately, she could never help us with our studies. So we had to be on our own.
And so did you all help each other, you and your siblings?
Yes, we just used to help each other and we used to try and master so that, we can help others and make money out of it.
And so how did you come to be able to come to Hong Kong?
In India, actually, because I was very advanced in my studies and my brother and sisters always joke that I'm the odd one out who actually understood math very well. And it's my profession now, like I teach. So I had to skip 3 classes. So I finished my school when I was not even 16. So, and then I had a bachelor's degree when I was only 18.
So you went to university in India?
In India. And then I was really getting frustrated because even though you have a degree, but you don't get the right opportunity to work, right? So, and then I found, I was very frustrated one evening and I just picked up the newspaper and I was looking through the jobs. So I came across a job in Hong Kong. I had no idea that the nanny job meant that even now that it's a domestic helper job.
Ah.
I actually applied for the nanny's job.
Oh, you didn't know you?
I had no idea.
So did you come out here as a domestic?
No.
Oh, right. What happened?
No. When I went for the interview, the couple who were, really interviewing me, I call him my godfather, Mr. Mehta. He's still in Hong Kong, a very good friend of mine. And when he interviewed me, he's had a little chat with his wife and he said, no, we can't take her as a nanny. We'll take her as an office staff. So he came back and he explained me, Preeti, the job that you read means this. But I don't think so. We want to hire you for that. But we are really keen to hire you for some other job. So I was hired as an office manager.
And that's great because I understand that if you're a domestic worker in Hong Kong, you're not allowed to work in any other role.
I would have been a domestic helper up until now. But yes, it changed.
So that was a lucky break for you.
It was a lucky break.
So you came to live in Hong Kong. You came on your own?
I came on my own.
And did you meet your husband in Hong Kong?
Yes, an unfortunate bit. Yes, I did meet him. I got married in Hong Kong. I had my 2 kids in Hong Kong and then I happily left him.
So how did you meet him?
I met him. He was working for the same company. I may not go into the details of that because, to be very honest, now we call him just a sperm donor. My kids are very happy to call him a sperm donor.
So do your children now, who are teenagers, not have anything to do with him?
No, my oldest son, who's 18, he has actually decided to give up his dad's family name. And my daughter is waiting to turn 18 to give up the family name. And I'm still living with that family name because we have decided that we'll kick that name out together. But we don't call ourselves Vasiyas. We call ourselves Sharmas now because that's my maiden name.
Right.
It's been many years. Like, I've been a single mother for almost all my life.
So how long were you together with your husband?
I was with him willingly for the first 3-4 years. And then after my son was born, then it was just a compromise. So I was waiting for my son to allow me to leave him.
What do you mean by that?
I never wanted to take a decision on my own. So when Gaurav was 2 years old, I actually had a chat with him. But by then I had my second one. So, and he knew it that mommy is not happy, things are not working. And then luckily SARS came in and I took my 2 kids back to India. And I knew it that very soon I'll be a single mom. But I was just preparing myself for that. So when I went back to India, I got more degrees because I wanted to go into full-time teaching. So I did my bachelor's of education and I did my Montessori and early childhood while I was living on my own with my 2 kids in India.
So you were obviously back there for a couple of years.
2 years.
Right.
And then that's when we came back and then Gav and my daughter Sonal, they said, Mom, it's time to just live by ourselves.
And why were the children so supportive of you leaving their father? How did children so young know that it wasn't right?
I'm sure they've seen something not right. He was not very loyal and an honest person. Like he was having an extramarital affairs, which I had no clue about it. So when I came to know, I didn't want to give him any benefit of doubt or any chance. But for kids' sake, when I asked Garv about it, my son, he wanted his dad. He said, Mom, I still want my dad. I said, it's fine, but I'll wait for you. But I did not tell him exactly why, but because he was too young to even understand that. And then I'm sure he must have seen something not quite right. So I remember one morning, both my kids came to my room. They were holding their hands and they said to me, how long will you take to leave this place?
How old were they?
Girl was 5.
Gosh, that's so young.
And they were holding their hands, and he said, Mom, how do you think we can live by ourselves? I said, yes. Although financially I was not strong, but I was not getting any support from him. So I was like, okay, we'll see to it. And then he said, so, Mommy, the time starts now. So I took exactly 10 days and we moved to Tongcheng.
Gosh.
Me, my kids, and 2 suitcases.
And you left?
And we never looked back. And we never looked back. So, but then I chose my wedding day to be my separation day. And my separation day to be my divorce day.
Oh, that's quite significant.
So that I can celebrate 1st of September every year.
That's nice. That's very thoughtful.
I know.
In amongst all of it.
I know. Why cry? Yes, things go wrong. You make wrong choices, but then you don't live with the guilt, right? And I never wanted to live with the guilt that, yes, I have taken a decision and I'm forcing my decision on my kids. And, what if they wanted both? So I told them, yes, I cannot live with him. But the fact is that him being a father, that no one can change it, right? But they had all the time whenever they wanted to meet him, but because he never showed any initiative to meet them. And now, even if he does, the kids are not interested. They're big now to take their own decisions.
So did he not meet up with the children after you separated?
Actually, the day I told him that I'm going to leave him, his only thing he said was, make sure you take kids with you. So and I never took even a cent maintenance from him, ever.
Why is that?
Because he never wanted to do that. And I'm like, kids are mine and I don't want to use them for anything. Yes. At the end of the day, I think I have everything when I say I have my kids. He may have money, but he doesn't have everything. But now we don't think about him.
Did the children ever feel resentful that he didn't make any effort to contact them or that he was sort of separate out of their lives?
Not really, because I don't think so. I was very open to my kids about, their needs. And if they ever wanted to meet him, although they were young, I had an extra helper to take them. But because he never showed that initiative to meet, he made certain fake promises. And then it never happened. And the kids could see. And both my kids actually never wanted to meet him. There was no pressure from my side.
Right.
Although my divorce was not that easy, because all of a sudden he wanted to take Garbs, my son's, he wanted him. So I had to fight for that.
Oh, did he? So he wanted custody of the boy?
Just him. Just him.
Why is that, do you think?
I think he just wanted to create some tension in my life. And he said he wanted, when I got the papers from the lawyer, it said, okay, he's asking for the custody of the son. But in that course, he lost the love and affection of his daughter because she was confused. Why not me?
She must have felt rejected.
She did. And then she said, screw you.
Done.
Done.
And then as the children got older, did he get back in touch and try to make contact with them, did he? Or he's just sort of been gone?
I feel that he has realized that kids doesn't need him. So it's really good. And, that he has not made any attempt. My son went to the university, right? He never made an attempt to meet him or say goodbye to him, which my son was very happy about because he never wanted to meet him. He told me clearly, Mom, he's not on my list to say goodbye to people, so.
That's interesting. So how did you find being a single mum on your own with 2 children, having to work and manage everything by yourself with no financial support? How was that?
I don't think it was an impossible task. Although, yes, it needed a lot of patience and it needed some time for myself to prove it. I think I would have not been able to do it without my kids' support. So both Garv and Sona were very, very supportive. My 2 kids, like that time he was at Kennedy School. So he was really supportive. And I must give a credit to my company that I used to work for. Even they were very supportive. He used to finish his school, come back to my school and have a nap there while mommy's finishing work.
Oh, that's nice.
I used to do things on my own, pick them up, take them home, although I never used to work extra. Yes, finance-wise, it was not easy. So we were quite tight on our budget, but kids knew it. So,
and by comparison to your childhood, it still must have seemed quite luxurious.
it was. I made sure that they don't see the same time that I had seen. I never wanted them to feel the way we felt, really miserable when we were really young. And to be very honest, I wanted to live my childhood in my kids' life. So I wanted to give them the best. And that was a promise that I made when I first held Gav in my hand. I'm like, I want to be the best mother. I don't know if I've succeeded, but I'm trying.
Well, you've got amazing children, so you must be doing something right. What were some of the fears that you faced?
When I became single, I actually, to be very honest, I had a lot of phobias. I had anxiety issues, and I never wanted to feel weak in front of my kids. So I used to put up a very brave face in front of them, sometimes totally clueless that how I'm going to achieve certain goals. So, and they used to sleep, and then 2:00 in the morning, I used to stand in the balcony and used to cry. And I think Gav had seen me crying a few times. So that's why he is very mature, and he is a very quiet boy compared to my little one, who is very cheeky and very lively. And I feel sorry because Gav became mature really young. Like, he used to come and give me hugs all the time. But yes, the first 8 to 10 months were not easy for me.
And how did the anxiety manifest? What happened to you? What sort of symptoms did you have?
I became very claustrophobic. I could never close my bedroom door and sleep. I could never shower with my bathroom door closed. I used to really go, out of breath. And I used to live on the 52nd floor, and I got scared of the lifts. And I still have that, but I decided that I will not take any medication. And then I will try to take care of myself in a very positive way. And I ended up becoming a psychologist.
Oh, did you? So did you see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and you didn't have medication? You just cope with it all on your own,
I used to talk to myself. I used to do my self-therapy, standing in front of the mirror, talking to myself, looking into my own eyes in the mirror and telling myself, you can do it.
And did it get better, or do you still suffer from a similar level of anxiety even today?
No, I don't. I set a goal every year that I will overcome this fear, and if I do this, if I do that. So I read a lot. I know the medication may not help all the time, because you need to help yourself. So medication can only suppress certain feelings, can just shut your brain and you go to sleep, but that's not what I really wanted. I wanted to self-cure myself internally. So I had to do a complete internal detox to get all the fear out of my life, so that I could face the world, because I had to take care of my 2 kids. At that time, the older one was 5 and the younger one was 3. And now the older one is turning 19 and the younger one is turning 17.
So you've come a long way in the last decade or more.
Or more, yes.
You started teaching, and you've really just been a single parent, looking after your children and teaching and doing that kind of thing. Anything else that you've done along your career path?
As I said, that I love reading. So by degrees, you can say that by now I have my 3 master's degrees. I've got 3 bachelors, 3 masters, and now I'm pursuing my double PhD.
Do you? That's so impressive.
But that's one way of keeping your depression away. For me, I decided that instead of just sitting or flipping channels or crying, or even doing nothing and feeling miserable, why not I make use of it, the time that I have? So I did my bachelor's in education, bachelor's in special needs, and I anyways had my degree in accounts before, because when I came to Hong Kong at the age of 18. And then I decided that there's a lot when I felt depressed and I thought that I am kind of becoming silly with all the different emotions and anxiety that I've had. So I decided to do a research on this myself. And then I decided that if I could be in this situation or position, then definitely there are children who are in the same situation. And right, they cannot express themselves. If you would have asked me, Preeti, why, I had no control on my emotions. I had no control on the feelings that I was getting. And it was more of a negative feeling than a positive one.
So you really had anxiety and depression?
I did. But I decided I will not take the medication because I was all by myself.
Yeah, I think medication can certainly work for some people. Yeah. And I think, different well-being or mindfulness activities or therapy or, there's many ways that people can help themselves.
Yes, and I had good friends, but again, you cannot talk to your friends in the middle of the night because they have their life too. So, and I was kind of becoming a totally insomniac, no sleep for the whole night. And in the morning, drop kids and go to work and come back like a zombie.
That must have been so hard. How did you manage that?
I studied. I read a lot of books on computers. And then I said, okay, I want to get a certified course in this. And when you read, you actually overcome your fear because you're reading a lot. And then I think it worked for me. Today, if you tell me to do anything except for bungee jumping, I'm happy to go for it.
Skydiving?
I think that's every year I say. Now I think next year I'm taking my kids and if my friends would ever hear it, they know Preeti would never do diving, but I'm ready to go for it.
So you're a bit of a risk taker. You like to set yourself challenges. And
I give myself time. You can't just say, okay, let's go now. So I need some time.
So do you prepare for a couple of years?
A couple of months.
Right, okay, great. That's good.
A couple of years, you never know. Life is never certain, right?
Hi, Confidants. I want to tell you about my Patreon page. I've joined Patreon in the hope of getting sponsorship for my Hong Kong Confidential podcast. Patreon is a great way for my listeners to get on board and sponsor me with monthly payments, and that goes towards my production costs and rewards for my members. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon page, please go to patreon.com and search up Jules Hannaford or Hong Kong Confidential. I would really appreciate you visiting my page. What would you say are your things that you're most proud of that you've achieved in your life?
I think I maintained my dignity. That was very important for me. And the second most important thing for me was starting from the very beginning or coming from an Asian family, Indian family, typical Indian family. Women never think about themselves. They put everybody else. So when I became single, I learned to put myself in the first place. And I think I learned that I need to keep myself happy. I need to be 100% satisfied and contented in what I'm doing so that happiness reflects in my children.
That's really nice. Then what are the things that make you happy?
What are the things that make me happy is whatever I do wholeheartedly. And I know there were times when I needed help from people, but people were not available. So I like to make myself available for others 24/7.
So you like to help other people?
That's one way when you can feel that, yes, your life has an aim.
And how did your wider family respond when you got divorced? Was it frowned upon back in those days?
I would not comment much about it, but yes, I was alone. There was not much of a help. And I don't blame them because I've got my family back. Yeah. They're all back. And I don't blame them because I believe that if you're not in a position to help, you don't want to make false promises to others. So I think exactly what my family did. They took a step back. Instead of saying, yes, we are there, but not being there 100%. And it gave me a sense of pride to come out of that situation by myself. And then otherwise I would have been dependent on others. Coming out from one house and then becoming dependent on 10 more people,
Yeah. So you really forged your own way and you've created a career, you've brought up your children, you've got your finances on track, you've done some amazing things.
I was not given a choice.
Yeah. I know. That's the nature of a single mother, isn't it? It's sink or swim.
Yes, which is good. And now when I, feel that, yes, there are people, or when I counsel others, even when I counsel my students who are going through hardships when it comes to their studies, I try to mentor them wholeheartedly and, to make them all-rounded and to make them feel that we're not running a mad race as long as we only can run a race with ourselves. Today we can do this, let's do this tomorrow. But if you look at others, that race is totally mad. And it's like, you can never achieve anything if you look at others and try to run. But if you compete with yourself, like today, if I say, yes, I can do this, I'm at this position, do I want to be here for the next 20 odd years and die? I would say no.
So that brings me to my question. What do you think is something that single mothers should pay attention to?
I believe the single mother should pay attention to themselves first. Because if you are happy, your core needs to be really happy. You can't just say I'm happy because I'm out of one relationship which never worked, right? So you need to be happy. You need to set certain goals for yourself. And you need to put yourself in the first place saying that, yes, it's me first. So my mantra ever since I became single is me, myself.
Good for you. Have you ever been open to having a relationship since you left your husband?
I'm not interested.
Okay. And you never have been?
No.
Wow, that's interesting. Why do you think that is?
Because I wanted to get out one silly relationship and I never wanted to get back to another one. And what I promised my kids as well, that, and third thing, I hate men. The only man I love is my son. And now I have a furry baby Shadow that I love the most.
What's a furry? Oh, a dog. A furry baby Shadow. I'm like, what is that?
No.
Is it a dog?
It's a dog.
Oh, okay. So
I will never get into any relationship
the fact that you're saying you hate men, were you that damaged or that treated that poorly in the relationship that you've maintained that attitude for all these years? Is that where that comes from?
I believe so. And I have maintained that attitude and I think I'll maintain this attitude till I die.
Really? And you don't miss having a companion or someone to share your life with? Because your children are, I hate to break it to you, your children are going to leave home and you will be alone in a few years now.
One has already
Speaking
left.
from experience, exactly.
One has left, other one is leaving in about next 17 months.
Yes.
But I think I tell them then I'll start thinking about my life. So far I'm paying their bills. So I'm working hard. But I will start preparing my own bucket list then. So I'll live for myself.
And a relationship won't be on that bucket list even then?
Nowhere.
Wow.
No, never.
I'm almost finding that admirable.
Never.
So you have this bucket list. Tell me, what are some of the key things that you'd like to do once your children are grown up?
I have a group of friends. I would love to travel world around, with them. We are 5 friends and we are from 5 different countries. And we call us besties, and it's all about us. So, although they are happily married, but they do spend time whenever we have to meet, they come and meet me, and then we spend time together. And I think I love spending time with them. So, and we do have plans to travel around and do silly things.
Sounds awesome. Really, really cool.
At the same time, they know that there would be no men in my life.
Oh, so they're
except
all
for
well
my
aware
furry
as well.
babies. I might have some more extra furry
Shadow.
babies.
How did it feel to have to send your oldest boy off to university? How was that as a single mum?
It was heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking. I couldn't prepare myself, and I think till now I cannot prepare myself. I'll tell you one thing, because now that I'm a psychologist, right? And I advise people how to overcome problems and, if there is, how to resolve it. So I knew I was at Bristol and it was my last afternoon with God before we could, I think the next morning we were leaving Bristol. So definitely I was not going to see him until Christmas. So while he was sleeping in the room, just taking a nap, I created an email account. It's called missinggarv@gmail.com. He doesn't know.
Oh.
He has no idea about it. And I wrote my first email that day and I made it day 1. And then I dropped him. He knew it that mommy is crying. Even he was crying and he was like, you need to be brave, mommy. You have Shadow, you have Bailey. We have 2 furry babies and so on, mommy. You need to be brave. I said, yes. So he left. I came back to my room and I just screamed and I cried so much. Sonal was so upset. And then I decided that whatever feelings I have, I'll pour it down in that email on a daily basis.
So it's a form of journaling your feelings.
And you won't believe it. After day 9, I stopped crying.
So 9 days of tears.
Seriously. While writing even my 18 hours of journey from London to Hong Kong, it was through Dubai, I didn't stop crying.
I can so relate to that. I cried when my daughter left as well. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And I only have one daughter. So when she was gone, I was alone. How do you think you feel when your next one goes and then you will be alone? Is that going to be easier or harder, or is it hard to imagine?
I don't think so. It's going to be that easy. But by the time the second one goes, I think I'll be a little prepared. And now that I write email to Gov, as if I'm talking to him. But the email, he's never receiving it. He might receive it after December, because in December I have plans to show him all the emails, because that's really helping me. Every night I write 2-3 pages of email to him.
But you're not sharing it with him because you don't want to make him stressed or homesick? Is that why?
Yes.
Okay, that's a really great idea.
So, and when in December he comes, I will show it to him, because he's going to be with me for 3 weeks. And I want to be very honest that this is how I controlled myself, Gar. And I'm sure it's hard on him too, because I have everybody. I have home. I have everyone at home. He's the one who's alone.
But I think sometimes, they get homesick, but also they're excited for the new chapter in their lives and
Definitely.
to be growing up, aren't they? So sometimes it's a little bit harder for us stuck back in the same routine, in the same life with that empty space.
Yes.
Whereas they're going to something new.
For 3 days, I couldn't enter his room. His room is on the top floor. And I had no courage to walk up those 10 stairs and go into his room. After 3rd day, when I went and I sat there, I was crying. But then I was talking to myself. I'm like, no, let me pour these emotions down in my email. And I did. And I've actually written on my second email, I've counted the number of weekdays that we have, how many hours, how many minutes, how many seconds before I'll see him.
Have you really?
Yes. There comes my math handy, right?
Yeah.
And then
that is a woman with a very mathematical brain.
13 Sundays, 12 Mondays, 12 Tuesdays, the whole list is there.
Wow.
And now I say, God, I don't count. All I want to see is I come and receive you on the 16th of December, and I'm so happy, but I haven't cried in the last 12 days.
And what would you say, if you look back on your life so far, what would you say your biggest regret is?
Marrying the wrong person.
Yes, but you got 2 beautiful children out of it.
That's why I spared him.
Spared his life.
Yes. You see? Yes. It's not that I want to go back and change something, but yes, I can regret, because kids definitely came after marrying him. I'm very happy that I have 2 kids, because I have a goal in life and I have the biggest aim. And I think otherwise I would have been nothing without my 2 kids. But yes, the amount of torture and the amount of stress that I've had living with him, I can write a book on it.
So when you say torture, obviously he had extramarital affairs, but what else did you have to go through?
A lot of mental torture. Because it was not in the same community that I married. It was a different community that I accepted before. Because I accepted him, my mom said goodbye to me.
Was he not of your culture?
No, different culture. Indian though, but different, totally different. So, and my mom was totally against my marriage, but I went ahead.
So she said goodbye.
She said goodbye.
How did that feel?
I think that time I was silly. I felt that I'm going ahead and that's my world. And, I loved him wholeheartedly. And I made the biggest sacrifice of leaving my family behind and marrying him. But that's something I will not even forgive him for that, because he didn't really deserve that. To cut it short, I have my 2 kids, I have my family. And I think because of all that, I am what I am, because of all the hardships that I
Yeah, it makes you a strong, independent woman of mystery.
I know. And am happy.
Yeah, you seem incredibly happy and incredibly accomplished and really driven and really madly proud and, in love with your children. And I can really feel all of that energy from you, which is amazing. One question I'm sure I really want to know is, did you come back together with your mother?
Yes.
Great. Well, tell me about that. When was that?
Oh, it's long time ago, but she realized that, yes, I think she calls me sometimes. She says that, Preeti, you are a woman who can do anything impossible on this earth. There is nothing impossible for you. So I salute you.
Oh, that's so lovely from your mum.
Not that I wanted that reward, but I did tell her, I did regret many times that at times I didn't get the help that I could have. Because tomorrow, if my kids get into trouble, the first person they can rely upon and trust is the mother, right? But then at the same time, I feel that, yes, thank you for not helping me. Because it made me the strongest person that I am.
That's such a positive way of looking at something that really perhaps wasn't so great at the time.
And it makes me feel like I can put myself in anybody's shoes, because you name a situation and I believe I've gone through that.
What would you say is your greatest joy in your life?
My work.
So you love teaching and you love helping people.
I love teaching. I come across so many different students from different nationalities and I get to understand them. And I don't just teach them numbers in a silly manner. I teach them numbers so that they understand in a way that they can understand. And when you are a freelancer, you have all the opportunity to explore. You don't have a time limit that, yes, you have to finish this lesson and tick the box. I tick the boxes for lifetime.
So, Preeti, what advice would you give to someone who's just embarking on a single mother journey with young children?
Darling, as I said that, first of all, yes, it's not easy to take that first step, right? Because it took me odd years to take that first step. And even when I was taking this step, I was a bit shaky, but it's okay to be shaky. Because before you actually get the grip on the ground by yourself, it's good to fall, because that's how you learn. But never think that you're never going to do it. Or because I have seen and I've come across people that they're not happy with the life that they're living, but because they don't know how to support themselves. They don't even know if they can live without somebody, but they don't have any happy moments to share, right? So I feel you only live once. We are dying every day. So why not live for yourself and have confidence? Try. Things will work out. For some people, it may be slow. It took me years. It took me good 12 years to be what I am today. Yes, and 12 years, I don't know how many times I have fallen, how many times I have really, stepped up and started my journey from scratch. But every morning I used to talk to myself and say, if anybody on this earth can do it, it's you. Just start your journey again. Do it. And I used to do it.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. What a lovely, lovely philosophy to finish this interview on.
Oh, you're welcome.
Preeti, thank you so much for coming to talk to me today. It's been so interesting and so inspiring, and I really appreciate you spending time with me.
Thank you, Jules, for letting me come. I couldn't stop myself when I read your message and I'm like, I'm in.
I know, it's been great. It's been great. Look, the best part about all of this is all the wonderful people I'm meeting and the great stories and the words of wisdom and the inspiration. And it's fantastic to share that with other people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name's Dave Pickering, and in 2011, I started to record conversations with people I know, from my closest friends and family to people that I hardly know at all. Conversations about their lives and their interests, their passions and their ideas, trying to find out a little bit more about who they are, and in the process of that, find out a little bit more about myself and about the world in general. It's part oral history and part autobiography through conversation. Over the years, it's been recommended by The Guardian, by Radio 5 Live, by Time Out, by the Financial Times, and just this year it won a British Podcast Award. To give you an idea of what the show's like, here are some clips from some of my most recent guests.
There's certain ways you can be for someone to support you. So you can be a victim, you can be someone who needs saving. But then when you're the one saying, okay, here's me wanting to say something, here's me being autonomous, here's me having agency, then that's not fitting in with that narrative of what a Muslim woman or a black woman or a minority should be.
And I remember I was going across London Bridge on a bus, and I realised that I could stop, and I realised that I could continue. And instead of looking back to somewhere deep in the past, looking for the point where I decided this was what I was going to do, I was going to right now decide.
If I was doing waitressing or if I was doing bar work, I would have to deal with guys like hitting on me and be nice and everything, because I'd either be looking to get tips or I'd be looking just to kind of keep the peace or whatever. Yeah. But like as a stripper, I'm either A, getting paid well for that labour, or I'm B, able to say, actually, I'm going to go, and they can't do anything. Right. You know what I mean?
When I spoke to my career teacher and came home and was discouraged, my parents said this to me: you don't need anybody's permission to be a great mathematician.
So that brings us to the end of another Hong Kong Confidential podcast. I'm Jules Hannaford. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll be with me again next week. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please can you go to iTunes to rate and review it. I would really appreciate your feedback. You can email me at jules@hongkongconfidential.net, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Hong Kong Confidential. If you'd like to hit me up on Twitter, it's at Jules Hannaford. I would love to hear from you.